Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another max effort lower day. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. Let's get over to the training. This one's not going to be super long. My max effort lower days are not long because my volume is moderated. And yes, I do sled drags almost every day now, basically barring weather, which means I'm over 2 weeks without a day off from dragging a sled. So I did drag a sled before doing this. The weights might seem a little light on the bar for these movements, but notice the amount of band tension I'm running. I'm running 100 pounds of bands on these safety bar box squats. And I didn't take it to a true max. It's just a good training max. I just aimed for about 90%. So it ended up only being 381 plus 100 pounds of bands, which means basically about midway up these bands at 100 pounds. So from that point up, it's 481. And like I said, eventually my goal will be to straight weight with this bar and box height. I want to get to 500. Now, keeping in mind in the past with a back squat with this bar, I've done 531. So on camera. So let's put that in context as how much harder the boxes are. Deadlifts, I ran a ton of band tension today. And I stopped with a good training max. It was definitely above 90%. I ended up doing, for my second heavy single, I'm like, yeah, that's good. I did 475 with 150 pounds of bands. Again, keeping in mind, this means we're at, because of the way band tension is progressive, these bands are probably hitting that full tension by the time I reach the knee. So again, you notice I pulled through fast though, which is good, because normally that's kind of my sticking point, but I've been working on it. So I feel confident. I feel confident just based upon that right there, that if I, by the end of this year, go for an actual real max deadlift, that I've got 625. I feel like I'll be able to do that, especially if my supplemental work continues at the rate it is. As long as my grip holds up and I don't tear a hand or anything like that, I feel like I'll be able to do at least 625. Maybe more, so we'll see. We'll see what happens towards the end of the year. By the end of the year, I will do a max conventional deadlift at some point. Okay. What I decided to do, the RDLs, start doing micro loading. I'm going to try to add a micro plate. So, 2.5 pounds each training session. So today we did 357.5. So then we'll do 360 next time. So I want to carry that on for several weeks. And I'd like to at least get these up to, say, 375. Or 3 sets of 10, again with this good range of motion where I'm almost touching the floor. Occasionally I did tap the floor on one of the reps. So just trying to get that deep stretch, and none of these were to failure. So again, I feel like I can keep making these changes. I can keep making this micro loading happen. And I think I'll be able to sustain it for at least another month or longer. And that's the game plan. And if I have to, because I don't want to remove RDLs, and yes, people might notice my training looks a little bit deadlift specialized at the moment relative to squats. Because I'm only doing squat stuff. It's just going to be my box work and my sled drags. And everything else is going to be more posterior chain and deadlift dominant. I want to have a pretty big deadlift by the end of the year. And then next year, we'll put a little more effort into the squats as needed. But I feel like for me, deadlift is going to have the most on my total. All right, it's going to add the most to my total because I can hit big squats relatively easy as soon as I ramp them up, as you guys have seen me do in the past. But for now I want to make sure my deadlift is really, really locked in. So again, my training seems a little bit more deadlift specialized, and that's one of the reasons I'm only doing training maxes, and I'm not going to push them as hard for the box work. And deadlifts I am going to start getting progressively harder. Like today was relatively challenging. I could have made another jump. I felt like I could have jumped to 500 plus the bands. I also now want to work on grip a little bit more. So we're going to do some double overhand deadlifts. I want to make sure my grip is on point. And yes, I do dead hangs and all that stuff every day. But again, grip, I need my grip to make sure my grip is stronger. Right? I want to make sure that my grip can absolutely hold out against weights well up past 600. So I'm going to start doing some of these. I'm going to start doing the double overhand deadlifts with this. And this started out pretty good. I did better on the third set than I did the first one. Right? That third set, I was able to get a fourth rep. I wasn't able to there because this is 250 And again, people who think this is easy, they're laughing. Go grab you an axle bar and throw 250 on it and double overhand it, see how it goes. I am able to hold over 600 pounds on a deadlift. Okay. That's what my grip is. That's how challenging this is, which is great. And I might alternate it. I might work in and do some mixed grip on it because of the axle bar itself. Even mixed grip on this is really good grip training. So it might be worth doing a little bit just to, again, give some grip that's a little more specific to my deadlift. But as it is, those lit my forearms up. That whole upper side of my forearm is just lit up from that. All right, glute ham raises, trying to do them while still doing an extension. And I know occasionally someone says, why do they look that way at the top of your bent? Because I can't do them any different. I've never been able to, on any setting, actually have my back straight on the way up. Even when I go to the really easy settings. It is what it is. But I am trying to hyperextend at the bottom and get the longest range of motion to, again, work the hamstring. And these crush my hamstrings. I wasn't able to get the 13 reps on the third set, right? That's what I've been noticing. I can get it right now on the first two, but getting that last rep or two on the third set, I just don't have it each time, and it's because of the other hamstring work I do. So this pretty well finishes my hamstrings. They are completely trashed usually between the Romanian deadlifts and this. And they're not as bad on max effort days. It's the speed work days that they hit really hard, and I cramp up if I'm not real careful. But for these today, I'm still happy with this because we're able to at least maintain what I've been able to do while increasing the RDLs first. So technically, the total workload on the hamstrings is going up on a weekly basis. So that's a good thing. That's what we want. I'm happy about that. And all in all, my entire posterior chain was pretty hammered today. So was my grip. And again, the grip's going to matter because I'm also doing bent over rows now with pretty heavy weights and having to hold it in my hands the whole set with no resets on the floor, and I don't use straps for those. So I need that extra grip training to carry over to those unless I want to start strapping up. So pretty much my training itself is extremely grip oriented right now, just across the board. And I feel like my grip is pretty good. Like I was actually happy just doing those double overhand deadlifts. I was worried I wasn't going to be able to do that, having not done those in months. But I grabbed it and was able to do that, which means my grip training itself is actually pretty good from just the things I already do. My grip is pretty good. I just want an insurance policy. And again, that's grip training that's very specific to the deadlift because I'm still doing a deadlift while holding it. And even now, my forearms are still kind of pumped. As I'm doing this voiceover and I've done 2 other exercises since then, I've still got a forearm pump from it. So everything's good. I didn't bump weight this time. I'm sticking with the 275 or the strict reverse hypers. Got my 3x10 and called it a day there. These will progress very slow at this point. I will note I am doing these on off days for restoration work. And for those curious people who said, hey, what does that consist of? I just do 3 plates. So 135, and I do sets of 20, 22, whatever. I just try to get at least 20. Get a pump. And I'm doing maybe 10 or 11 sets throughout the week, right? About 10 or 11 sets of those for restoration, all throughout the week on my off days, sometimes a little bit on the upper days, right? Just getting blood flow to that low back. I need to make sure my low back is recovering because we're hitting the erectors really hard, right? Between doing these strict, this is heavy for strict. And anyone who's messed with the reverse hyper understands that. If you used it, you know. And it's just as simple as that. So these are hitting it hard. The Romanian deadlifts are hitting my erectors hard. And I'm also hitting them doing all the bent over rows. So I need that extra restoration just to make sure my recovery keeps up with those workloads. But overall, very happy with today's workout. Happy with how that deadlift felt. It tells me I'm in a good place for peaking my deadlift and bringing it up towards the end of the year. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.